Thank you very much for joining us on Nationwide. We're live in Abuja on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguera. The federal government has inaugurated a 13-man presidential project implementation team to resuscitate the Ajaokuta steel project. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, who doubles as chairman of the implementation team, charged members to kickstart the process of bringing the steel project back to life. Mitari Ikben reports.
For over 40 years now, the Ajaokuta steel plant has been unproductive, as previous efforts to revive it have proven abortive. Yet, the steel project is crucial to Nigeria's industrialization and prospect of becoming West Africa's largest steel producer. Hope to revive the project was ignited last year at the Russia-Africa Summit, where President Buhari secured the commitment of his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, to resuscitate the steel plant on the basis of a government-to-government agreement, with funding from the Afrexim Bank and the Russian Export Center. This 13-man team of industry experts has the mandate to determine all parameters for effective and coordinated commencement of rehabilitation works on the steel plant as part of its terms of reference.
Ensure the resuscitation of the Ajaokuta steel plant based on the original design. Ensure timely commissioning of the Ajaokuta steel plant within a reasonable period to be agreed upon by the parties to the agreement, and recommend primary tenure of a bill operate transfer BOT concession.
We intend to continue to push this even during this COVID time, so that all the groundwork that could be done will be done. But as soon as the COVID travel restriction is lifted, we'll be able to move at a faster pace.
The revival of the Ajaokuta steel plant, originally designed by the Russians, is expected to accelerate Nigeria's quest for industrialization and economic diversification. In Abuja, Mitari Ikben, NTA News.
The Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs has screened 6 out of 38 nominees sent to the Senate by President Muhammadu Buhari for confirmation as chairman and commissioners of the Federal Character Commission. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onkwo has more.
On Tuesday, 28th of April 2020, the Senate at plenary received requests from President Muhammadu Buhari for the confirmation of 38 nominees as chairman and commissioners of the Federal Character Commission. Senate referred the presidential request to its Committee on Federal Character for screening. 6 days after the referral, the committee has commenced the screening. The chairman-designate, Dr. Muhiba Dan Kaka, was the first nominee to face the panel.
As the nominee from the presidency, how do you expect to run this office?
I look at the whole 36 states, they are all my states. I will still be fair in whatever I do.
I wish you all the best.
The committee reminded the nominees of the need to foster national unity through strict adherence to the federal character principle.
Every time there is provision or vacancies are declared, you must seek approval of the National Assembly.
In the last screening, we allowed the women to introduce themselves and go. This is an extension of plenary, that we should allow this intelligent woman to bow and go.
Those screened include Adeniyi Olowofela, Abiodun Akinlade, Ginika Florence, Tonya Okio, and Mohammed Hamza. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, described the choice of a woman this time for the chairmanship position as a positive step.
I was married to somebody from the core north, coming from Kwara State. I have no doubt in my mind that with her humility and her readiness to learn, she will be a credit to the commission.
The minister thereafter harped on the need for intensified sensitization, especially by the media, against the spread of COVID-19. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Onkwo, NTA News.
Let's bring you update on COVID-19. Nigeria is now having 4,399 coronavirus cases. The latest figures released by Nigeria Center for Disease Control as of 10th May 2020 indicates that 248 new infections were established in 17 states. In the breakdown of the new infections, Lagos has 81, Jigawa 35, Borno and Kano 26 each, Bauchi 20, FCT 13, Edo 12, Sokoto 10, Zamfara 7, Kwara and Kebbi 4 each, Gombe, Ogun and Taraba 2 each, while Bayelsa and Oshun have 1 case each. 778 cases have been discharged and 143 have died. And Ondo State has recorded its first casualty from the coronavirus pandemic. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Wahab Adigbenro, announced this while speaking with newsmen in Akure. Dr. Adigbenro said the patient who was already receiving treatment at the State's Infectious Disease Hospital, Akure, had an underlying challenge of renal failure, which worsened his case and led to his death. He said the disease, the male, was one of those that came into the state from Lagos State after testing positive to COVID-19. Dr. Adigbenro said his body would be buried in accordance with laid-down rules by the NCDC. The commissioner hinted that all the COVID-19 patients in the state were in stable condition. And in Cross River, the state government is commending the efforts of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control for curtailing the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Governor Ben Ayade, while speaking to newsmen in Calabar, is also promising to give his maximum support to the center. Let's hear from Paul Abel.
Cross River is one of the 2 states yet to officially record 1 confirmed case of COVID-19 in Nigeria since the index case in February 2020. Of recent, there has been mutual suspicion from both ends as NCDC views the state as not conducting enough testing, with the state government on its part commenting on needs to quarantine NCDC officials who may come to the state for official assignment.
Cross River State will do all they can to support NCDC to deliver on their commitment.
Governor Ayade also speaks on efforts towards keeping the COVID-19 free status of the state.
The No Mask, No Movement has played a great role, policing and blocking all our borders and our interstate borders and our international borders, and blocking our maritime corridor. Those were the initiatives that are paying off today that Cross River State is COVID-19 free.
As the state awaits the arrival of the NCDC, it is expected that there will be continual flow of communication between the state and the center to avoid the repetition of the Kogi experience. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NDA News.
Let's look at the economy. The Governor Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has assured investors of the security of the investments in the country despite the dwindling revenue from the sale of crude oil globally. Speaking at the weekend in Abuja, Emefiele said investors interested in repatriating their funds from the country were guaranteed to do so, noting that the bank had put in place policies to ensure an orderly exit for those that might be interested in doing so. Speaking on the plans of the bank in tackling the economic impact of the COVID-19, he said the CBN, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, was committed to galvanizing the manufacturing sector in a bid to reset the economy.
Nigeria has one opportunity to reset again, and to say that as we start a new journey towards development, towards economic industrialization of a country, that Nigeria should join the race. And perhaps this is a good opportunity for us to see to it that we prepare ourselves as a country in Africa, the largest economy, to get our manufacturing sectors to work, to get our banking sectors to work efficiently to support economic growth and development, so that by the time African Continental Free Trade Zone arrangement comes on stream, Nigeria will be adequately prepared. I watch on television that AFCFTA starts again January 2021. And so, what do we do as a country? And that's why we think we should galvanize the manufacturing sector, the health sector, to prepare and then get our factories back, create jobs. Let us begin to see the fumes coming out of the rooftops of the manufacturing companies so that we can be adequately prepared for the battles ahead.
The CBN governor there speaking. And we're doing our business correspondent, Chimobi Walter Naji, live to tell us more on how Nigeria's economy is thriving amid COVID-19. Chimobi, what can you deduce from what the CBN governor just related to us on the situation regarding the assurance to investors in various sectors of the economy? Hear Chimobi from where he is, but if we can fix the audio, we'll definitely reconnect with him. Let's go on a break nationwide. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
25th February 2020, Nigeria. It is real. It is a nightmare. It is killing people all over the world. It is COVID-19. Compliance with the various states in Nigeria, the current measures will flatten the curves. Shutting down is not an act of wickedness, but an act to save lives. Stay home, stay safe. Observe social distance. Always put on a face mask while leaving your house. Make sure you are on the tricycle alone. Cars and buses cannot carry more than half their passengers. Always remember to wash your hands. Together, we will defeat COVID-19. This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibilities.
As a strong immune system increases the chances of victims surviving COVID-19, a corruption-free society creates opportunities for citizens to thrive and prosper. Build your immunity. Stop corruption now. Report all acts of corruption to ICPC on this toll-free number 0800 2255 4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
I just don't understand this coronavirus thing. Is it real?
See, coronavirus, known as COVID-19, it's a global problem and has killed thousands of people in China, Italy, Spain, UK, US, and other countries around the world.
Okay. Now, why are they saying that we should stay home?
Because if you go outside and get in contact with someone who is infected, you become infected and then come back home, affect your family. That's how it happens in other countries.
Now, please, help me explain what this social distance is all about.
See, as we are now, the virus travels through the air and by touch. We must maintain 6 foot distance at all times.
Oh, so it's not by washing my hands with soap and water or hand sanitizer that is only important?
Washing of our hands regularly is very important. But we must come together and fight this virus like we did Ebola. It is our responsibility to each other.
Thanks Thanks for staying tuned. All right, let's rejoin our business correspondent, Chimobi Walter. He was trying to give us a situation report regarding CBN's governor's assurance to investors in various sectors of the economy. Chimobi, if you can hear me, go ahead.
I was talking earlier about, the implication of what the CBN governor said in that press release yesterday. He was trying to explain that, the issue of repatriation of fund is a global issue, being that because of the anxiety globally, that the investors globally do not have so much trust in the economy of countries as it were now, because of the looming recession that is quite imminent, and because of that, most investors are agitating as to being able to recover their funds or repatriate their funds back to their home countries. And it is on that note that the CBN governor is trying to douse the tension among investors, to let them understand that the country is on top of the game to ensure that whoever wants to get the funds repatriated back to the country would do that in due time. However, there is a bank policy that must be followed. And apart from that, he went further again to explain that the country is on top of the situation by trying to engage all stakeholders in the manufacturing sector to get manufacturers on board through the Ministry of Trade and Investment, to ensure that all the manufacturers are top of their situation, on top of their games in ensuring that Nigeria moves away from crude oil revenue to other sources of revenue that would ensure sustainability of the economy, even with the dwindling oil prices.
And talking about the dwindling oil prices, experts have said that it may affect domestic production, may hinder domestic production, and with the induced disruption of activity because of coronavirus. What can you tell us about our economy generally now in Nigeria?
As a matter of fact, I didn't get your question correctly, but I can tell you that the easing of the lockdown nationwide is a good thing for the Nigerian economy, being that most businesses are now being able to operate and do businesses. And of course, you know that when there is a lockdown, it affects every aspect of the economy. It affects every aspect of the economy, of course. And again, the easing of the lockdown may not give the country the desired result, because we're still having to practice a lot of the rules of engagement for the lockdown, talking about social distancing and the rest of it. Experts would tell you that no economy can can move forward with some of those rules being put in place. For example, the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement that should have taken off by July 1st this year, has been postponed because some of the negotiations that should have been concluded at this moment could not be completed because of these laid down rules and then lockdown of many economies of the world. So these are so many issues that you need to look at. But then the ease of lockdown in Nigeria at the moment has greatly impacted the nation's economy. You can see that, most businesses have started picking up gradually, except for some who are those among those that are affected that cannot open their businesses now, like the barbing salon, those who deal in clothing materials and all of that. But for the food sector, which is also a very key sector of the economy, now that one is picking up already, and that is the area where you understand that people who are part of the food value chain, are going to be expecting a lot of boom because of that ease of lockdown.
Thank you very much, Chimobi. No better time for us to look inward than now, if we must bounce back sooner than anticipated. Thank you very much. Our correspondent there, Chimobi Walter, giving us a situation of the economy amid COVID-19. Time now to join Ruth in Lagos for more on Nationwide. Hello, Ruth.
Hello. It's nice to have you. It has has been widely agreed that essential workers like medical practitioners, journalists, security personnel, and others are heroes in the fight against COVID-19. While their efforts are appreciated, issues regarding to their welfare and protection are being championed as they put their lives at risk on the front lines. Dr. Oguyemi in this report seeks to find out how they have been coping while discharging their duties.
It wasn't long ago, precisely May 1st, 2020, that Nigerian workers joined their counterparts the world over to mark Workers' Day. Though the celebration was drowned by the COVID-19 pandemic, specific issues were raised to draw attention to the plight of essential and non-essential workers, one of which was to call for better protection for healthcare workers as cases of infections of these category of workers remains elusive. Dr. Doyin Odubanjo also shares these concerns.
Of course, we've struggled with health worker protection and welfare, or maybe we call it welfare in general, which includes their protection, which includes remuneration. So we've struggled, and I'll say we've struggled with our strategy as a whole.
Journalists have not been spared, as globally and in Nigeria, there are reported cases of journalists being infected. Security personnel, especially the police, who are out enforcing several directives, have also taken steps to ensure the protection of its officers and men.
And if you are going to every police formations now, so not only will the temperature will be taken, the washing of hands, and even the sanitizer, every police formations, that part of protection they have. And equally to those that are on patrol, we always tell them that there must not be more than that too.
Although health workers have become the face of frontline workers, several others do not in company of patients are working daily to keep the light on, fuel in cars and generators, and steady supply of food and drugs. In Lagos, Dr. Oguyemi, NTA News.
To be honest, Nigerians still can't come to terms with the times, not having to go where they please, when they want, hosting and attending parties, going to school or place of worship. They are still finding it hard to adjust. However, there are some advantages that come with retreating into your privacy. Abolade Salami reports.
It's clear that coronavirus case in Nigeria was on the increase sometime in March. The federal government wasted no time in declaring a total lockdown in Lagos, FCT and Ogun states. The lockdown, which lasted for 5 weeks, was later eased off to allow inter-business operations with precautionary measures instituted. Onto the pros. The lockdown, according to Boyega Oluwasegun, was a period of self-discovery and spiritual reawakening.
By God's grace, I have time to read my Bible. I have time to take care of my children and study their movements and their attitude, and I have time to correct them on so many things.
While Oluwasegun took out time to acquire deeper spiritual knowledge, Ogilisoso spent more hours in his library researching and finding answers to diverse subjects that were either too puzzling.
For me, for instance, I'm somebody that do a lot of research. So through this lockdown, I've done so many researches, and that it has helped me have known more about my country, and in fact, at the world at large. So I think in that aspect, I benefited greatly.
The benefit I have in this lockdown, that I have the benefit of staying with my family.
In whatever way you may want to describe the lockdown, it was a period where some came up with innovations, others had much needed elusive rest, while majority spent time with their loved ones. More importantly, however, individuals had no choice but adhere strictly to the guidelines of social distancing, frequent hand washing, and wearing a face mask in public. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to my namesake in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Well, thank you, Ruth. All right, let's look at more issues on COVID-19. The nation's environment is coming to terms with the first phase of the process of gradual easing of the lockdown. But how are business owners faring within the stipulated guidelines? Kolo Mohammed monitored the situation and now reports.
As the nation buckles under the strain
of gradual easing of the lockdown. Businesses are pursuing the rhythm to attain a status better than, as it were, as activities at most business facilities are regulated to adhere to social distancing aimed at curbing the spread of COVID-19. Traders and business security strategists are soliciting policymakers to consider expanding the grid of the regulation to capture more business interest into the window of permissible business transactions.
Is that they should ration the market. Like all along, food commodities, they are being the one in the market, but those at home, there's no money for them. I think by the time they ration the market, those selling fancy should take like Tuesday, while the food commodities should take on Monday.
Don't ease only those who are selling foodstuff. Ease other businesses, because it will get to a time, how do you make money to buy those food? Especially those that their incomes are daily dependent.
This is phase one of easing of the lockdown. Generally, the best is hoped for going forward. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
Governor Bala Muhammad has announced total lockdown of 3 local government areas in Bauchi State. Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad reports that the lockdown was as a result of the increasing number of COVID-19 patients in the affected local government areas.
The affected local government areas are Katagum, Gyade and Zaki.
For the period of 10 days, to enable us enforce or enhance our contact tracing, quarantine the people that are found to have it, and establish a very robust and durable administration of managing the situation. During the period, we will also spray and decontaminate the whole towns in the local government.
With about 70% of the state's COVID-19 infections, the total lockdown will take effect from Tuesday by 6 p.m.
44 cases, 27 of them from Azare, about 7 from Gyade and other places. And we discovered that this is as a result of community transmission, not the kind of phenomenon that we had of people bringing it to Bauchi from other places. Those who have brought it, they have started spreading.
The state governor has since directed his deputy, who is also the chairman of the COVID-19 Task Force Committee, to move into Azare with his team. In Bauchi, Mahmoud Ibn Muhammad, NTA News.
All right, we now have the Bauchi State Commissioner of Health, Dr. Aliyu Megoro, who is going to speak further on developments on COVID-19 in the state. Commissioner, good day. If you can hear me loud and clear, we're talking to him actually via telephone. What's the situation in Bauchi State regarding the increasing number of coronavirus and the total lockdown of 3 local government areas?
Hello, good afternoon, and I'm very happy to join you. And
Okay, yes, I just asked a question. Let me go over that again. I said, what's the current situation in Bauchi State? We hear there's a total lockdown of 3 local government areas. What can you tell us at the present situation now?
Yes, currently in Bauchi, in recent days, we have an increase in number of cases of COVID-19. As you are aware, yesterday we have recorded about 44 number of new cases, as well as late in the evening yesterday, we had additional 22 new cases. So out of these new cases, we realize that majority are coming from one region of the state, that is Azare. I can give an example from the last sample we received yesterday. Out of the 22, about 15 are coming from Azare. And this has to do with the relationship between Azare town and the neighboring state, especially Kano. The people in Azare, they normally do their activities of trading and other social interaction with Kano State. So, by and large, there is an increasing number of people, despite this restriction of the lockdown. They travel from one place to another, especially between Azare and Kano. And you know that Kano and Jigawa, they are recording some cases of COVID-19 recently. So what we did when we noticed this kind of a change in trend of the pattern of the disease in the region of Bauchi State, we deployed a team led by His Excellency the Deputy Governor, under the directive of His Excellency the Executive Governor of Bauchi State, to go to Azare and find the situation and see how we can be able to reinforce and strengthen the activities in Azare. So basically what we did last week, latest by Friday, we went to Azare and look at all the 9 pillars in the Emergency Operations Center that is operating in Bauchi, and we created a mini Emergency Operations Center in Azare. What I'm trying to explain is we increased their capacity in their surveillance activities, laboratory services, point of entry, infection prevention and control, case management, risk communication, logistics coordination, as well as research.
Okay.
So, yes, ma'am.
Okay, Dr. Megoro, what can you tell us about government's efforts in terms of enlightenment for people, in the rural communities to stop this community transmission?
Yes, there is an intensified risk communication. In Bauchi, we already have a good pillar right from the cases of Lassa fever up to COVID-19. There is no one community that I can tell you is not aware of COVID-19. It's just like the attitude of our people, They will be aware, but when you come to the issue of the attitude and practice, that one is different. So we are trying to increase awareness by engaging the community leaders, by engaging the traditional leaders, so that they can be able to talk to people. These are role models in the community. So in Azare, we are going to intensify this campaign. During this lockdown, we are going, in addition to the risk communication, we are going to fish out any contact that is of high risk, and we will take sample, and if you are positive, we will take you to the isolation and treatment center. So as I'm talking to you, we have about 68 cases currently in Azare and 115 here in Bauchi. So what we are trying to do is we located a facility, existing federal structure in Federal Medical Center Azare, and now we are going to admit these cases, and then His Excellency the Deputy Governor is right now on his way to Azare. He's going to station permanently there to increase the capacity of people in Azare as well as the health workers in trying to contain this disease.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Aliyu Megoro. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
All right, I just put that out, and that's the Commissioner for Health in Bauchi State. And we can get enough of awareness as the need for people to avoid contracting COVID-19 has again been re-echoed on NTS Good Morning Nigeria. Medical experts say contracting the virus could lead to death, especially in patients with underlying ailments. The guest, while discussing COVID-19 and underlying ailments, reiterated the need to observe all protocols mitigating the spread. Lydian Sampson reports.
Patients with chronic diseases before COVID-19 could hitherto manage the ailments for years. Ironically, if such patients contract COVID-19, the underlying ailments heightens, leading to death. The guest therefore stressed the need for planning with other experts on management of COVID-19 patients with underlying illnesses, which they say present severe cases.
COVID-19, I would want to call it the accelerator of death in these patients with comorbidities.
Try to remove that fear of getting infected when they go to the hospital, because the hospitals ideally should have triage areas where patients will be triaged to go to where the non-COVID patients are seen, and if they are high-risk patients, they are referred to where COVID patients are seen. So they should practice all those hygienes, the hygiene, the social distancing, the putting of masks, and taking their medication.
They also urge government and other stakeholders to intensify efforts at establishing intensive care units in hospitals and isolation centers for specified treatments.
Now, if you have cancer, it will be expected that it is not only the COVID-19 that is going to be treated. You should involve a cancer specialist.
Any condition that will make you come down with a severe form or, suffer a severe form of the disease, those are the people who will be needing hospitalizations, the ones ones who are likely to go to the ICU, the ones who are likely to be needing ventilators, mechanical ventilation.
To mitigate community spread, they are unanimous that the use of personal protecting equipment (PPEs) amongst health workers must be intensified with government support. This, they say, will go a long way in protecting health workers so they can serve society better. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
All right, let's head to Jos to find out what the situation is like over there as we join Zinret to guide us. Hello, Zinret.
Thank you, Ruth. Welcome to Jos. With the increase in confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Plateau State, which is said to be mostly imported from other states, Plateau State government is putting in place stiffer measures against anyone violating the lockdown order. Zanret Dimun reports.
With the lockdown directives by the state government to contain the spread of COVID-19, directing the closure of entry routes to the state, drivers have now derived illegal routes to convey their passengers in and out of the state, thereby flouting government's orders and putting the state at risk of the pandemic. With the index case in the state said to be a returnee from Kano State, the government has taken more proactive measures to address this issue.
His Excellency, the Governor of Plateau State, is going around to see things for himself, to assess the situation at the borders himself. The borders have been a challenge to us, but challenges are meant to be solved, and we are determined to make sure that people do not cross the borders again.
The Commissioner for Information, Dan Manjang, adds that there is synergy with the National Union of Road Transport Workers in the state towards sensitizing its members against engaging in such acts that is detrimental to their health and that of their passengers.
Our park is locked, and you will see nobody inside our parks. And every park before the lockdown, you will see we have washing hand and sanitizer.
Plateau State presently has a total of 17 cases of COVID-19. In Jos, Zenrad Dingmoon, NTA News.
To further strengthen the state's capacity in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic, the APIN Public Health Initiative, a non-governmental organization, has donated medical equipment to the Ministry of Health, Plateau State. David Ijashion has details.
Nose masks, hand gloves, and infrared temperature scanner are among the medical equipment donated by APIN Public Health Initiative and received by the Commissioner for Health, Plateau State, Dr. Nimkong Landan. In his remark, the team leader said these items will aid government's efforts to curtail the spread of the virus within the state.
Just like the Honorable Commissioner of Health said, the state cannot do it all. So this is a battle that everybody must put hands on gear to fight. So in our own small way, we felt that we should donate these items. They say a little drop of water makes a mighty ocean. So if we do our bit and every other person does his or her bit, collectively we will quickly eradicate this infection.
The Commissioner for Health commended the efforts of the NGO and encouraged emulation of this act by other bodies and private individuals.
We are also appealing to other donor agencies or partners. They should also come and help. Government cannot do this alone. Do your own little donation. We can use it for the purpose it's meant for.
The Commissioner encouraged the public to play their roles also by adhering strictly to the safety measures outlined by health practitioners. In Jos, David Ijashion, NTA News.
That does it from Jos. I am Felicia Daliop Samaila. Ruth is back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Felicia, I apologize for calling you Zenrate. All right, let's look at more stories as nations continue in desperate search for vaccines and the possible cure for coronavirus pandemic. Some medical experts have advised on the use of simple face masks to tame the spread of the virus and prevent other infectious respiratory diseases. Suese Agu examined some of the health implications from improper use of face masks.
In an effort to curtail the ongoing COVID-19 outbreak in Nigeria, it is strongly advised that the use of face masks helps to block the spread of respiratory droplets from person to person. With this advice by medical experts, Government at all levels have mandated the use of face masks in public places, which has recorded high level of compliance.
The advantage is that it prevents you from getting infected with this virus.
Nevertheless, it is again feared that the constant use of these face masks over a long period could cause health hazards, which mostly affect the human respiratory tract.
This thing is very airy. You're supposed to use it, it should not be too tight so that you can breathe. If not, you will suffocate yourself. I've seen people suffocating and coming down with swollen lips and swollen nose. It should give you a room to breathe. It should not be too thick, because if it's too thick, you can inhale your carbon dioxide and you can go into suffocation. You go into shortness of breath.
They, however, called for massive sensitization on the proper use of face masks and endeavor to sterilize or wash and iron those locally made, or better still, discard of the surgical ones. In Makudi, Sewisi Agu, NTA News.
Let's go on another break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Now believe this corrupting. You know if you touch black man, if you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make a cough. Nothing.
Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
I beg, get small pieces.
How much you want to give her?
Give me 200. Take your change now. You don't want your changes.
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. May una wash una hands regularly. Come use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you no see water, wash your hand. Make una sit down for house. You see this virus, so it no get leg. Now we dey waka kurukere. No waka around, make the virus for die. No forget, say the betterment of our people. Now for your handy day.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status.
All right, it's that time we join the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 daily briefing. Just got started. Stay tuned.